Craig Fear with Fearless Eating. Welcome to my kitchen today. Today I'm going to show you how to make lacto-fermented pickles, one of my absolute favorite fermented vegetables to make, especially now that it's summertime. So lacto-fermentation is a natural method of food preservation that enhances the nutrient content and makes foods a lot more digestible. It has a lot of digestive health benefits when we lacto-ferment foods. It increases the probiotic content, the enzyme content, and unfortunately, most mass-produced pickles are not lacto-fermented. They are pickled. So sometimes the word pickle is a little confusing. So we're going to take cucumbers today and turn them into a pickle, but there are two methods of food preservation. There's lacto-fermentation and there's pickling. So you can pickle other things other than cucumbers, right? So you can pickle onions, beets, other sorts of vegetables. And usually when we talk about pickling, what we're referring to is adding vinegar and heat to preserve those foods for a very long time. So commercial preparations, for example, Vlasic, will use heated vinegar, and that will let it stay shelf stable for 3, 4, 5 years. A lot of people do this at home with home canning baths, water canning baths, and that will also preserve a food for a very long time. But when you add heat and vinegar, you sterilize that food and you destroy the nutrient content, the probiotics. So that's not what we want to do. We want to lacto-ferment foods, and that's what we're going to do with our pickles today. And I'm going to show you how to do it right now. Okay, so here we go. So I've taken the camera and zoomed in a bit here so you can clearly see this. As you guys all see Lipton in the back of the last segment. I didn't even realize she had snuck in there. She's anxiously awaiting her walk. Anyway, so we're going to make a very simple standard recipe here. The classic formula for pickles, for cucumber pickles, is simply garlic and dill, which is all we're going to use here. You could certainly add in more than that. Mustard seed, cloves, cinnamon. There's a lot of different pickling spices. Hot peppers that add heat for sure. But I'm going to do a very simple, basic recipe here. So let's get started. So I've already prepped the pickles, and I'm using just a kind of standard quart-sized glass jar. It's a little under quart size, and that's kind of where you want to start if you're doing this for the first time. And this is kind of two tips for making pickles that will be nice and crunchy. So obviously the cucumbers, they absorb a lot of water. So one of the things about fermenting pickles is that they can turn a bit mushy. So to prevent that, number one, look for like kind of slightly underripe pickles that have a kind of a yellowish green color to them. And also, if you ever see these stems, make sure you trim them off, because they harbor an enzyme that can also turn it a little mushy. So I have halved these cucumbers, about 3 to 4 of them. You could certainly quarter them, whatever you want to do. I like having them. And what you want to do, well, first you want to do is you want to take a generous clump of dill. You want like 2 generous clumps, one for the bottom, one for the top. I'm going to put 1 garlic clove in the bottom. And then you just want to pack the spears in. And that's kind of why I like having them. I think they pack in a little bit better. And really kind of pack them in as much as you can. And what this will do is a few things. Yeah, I think I can get 1 more down there. Yeah, nice and compact in there. And so, as you can see, if I turn it over, they're nice and compact in there. And therefore I don't need to use the weight to weigh it down, which is great. And then I'll take the last clump of dill and I'll kind of just spread it around and kind of push it in the wedges, between the wedges there, and just so it's kind of secure in there. I'll take the last garlic clove. You could certainly use more garlic cloves than that. You can use 1 clove, 2, 3, 4, however garlicky you like it. And now we're ready to go. And all I gotta do is pour the brine on. So I have the brine right here, and I've kind of measured this out, and this is approximately 1 quart of water, and I put in about a tablespoon and a half of salt. That's what I like. You could certainly go to 2 to 3 tablespoons. 3 is really pushing it. I think that's really salty, but it will ferment, it will work. It's just kind of your personal preference, but I think between 1 and 2 is really good. So that's it. I've kind of dissolved this in. Now, if you're not using filtered water, which I am, you definitely want to boil the water first, dissolve the salt in, and then let it cool to room temperature. just so, because there can be some chemicals in unfiltered water that can alter the fermentation process. And so I'm just going to kind of pour this over the pickles right now, and really that's it. And I'm going to leave about a space between an inch between the top of the jar and the top of the water there, because as it ferments it will expand a bit, it will give off gases, and it can explode the jar, which we definitely don't want. So what we want to do now is put the top on, and we're going to leave this at room temperature for at least 2 days, and it will ferment. It has to be at room temperature where it will now ferment, and we want to burp the jars every few days, so you're just going to take this off once a day, let the gases escape. You'll notice it'll start to bubble, and in the summer it's going to ferment a lot faster than in the winter. So it might be ready after 2-3 days in the summer. In the winter it might take 7 to 10 days. Just check it after a few days and taste it, and you'll know when it's ready. When it tastes like a pickle, when it's nice and sour and salty, it's ready to go. And then when it's done, throw them in the fridge, and it will last for weeks, if not months, in your fridge, and you'll get all the nutritional benefits of the lacto-fermentation process. So that's it. That's how simple it is. So that's how to lacto-ferment pickles at home.